Beloved, listen to me carefully. Today is not just another day on the calendar. Today is a day that carries weight, a day that holds opportunities you cannot afford to postpone, a day that is pregnant with possibilities that could alter the very course of your life. I want you to understand something very clearly. There is power in immediacy. There is power in recognizing that the moment you are in is alive with spiritual energy. That the seconds ticking away are more than just time passing. They are chances, opportunities, and openings that God himself has set before you. Too many of us live in delay. We think, I will start tomorrow, I will pray later, I will take action next week. And while you think you are delaying, your opportunities are slipping, your breakthroughs are waiting, and the spiritual battles that could have been won today are allowed to linger because you were not decisive. But today, beloved, today is different. Today is urgent. Today demands attention. Today is a day where you cannot afford to hesitate. I want you to feel it in your spirit, the urgency of now. There is a sacred momentum in life, a divine rhythm that aligns with action, with faith, with purpose. And when you procrastinate, you break that rhythm. When you delay, you close doors that were open for you at the perfect time. But when you act immediately, when you respond to the moment, when you seize the opportunity that today presents, you step into alignment with destiny itself. This is why I'm speaking to you with intensity, with a sense of pressing urgency. The prayer I am about to show you, the words I am about to instruct you to declare, are not ordinary words. They are not just sentences to recite. They are keys to unlock favor, weapons to disarm opposition, portals to divine intervention. And they are meant to be spoken now. In this very moment, delay is not an option, because what you postpone today may never return tomorrow. I want you to imagine for a moment what it feels like to have your enemy's plans crumble before your eyes. I want you to picture the situations that have been causing stress, the relationships that have been strained, the doors that have been closed, and the battles that seem endless. Today, the power to disrupt every opposition is at your fingertips, but it will only be effective if you move now. Life does not wait. The winds of opportunity do not linger for those who procrastinate. There is a special force that is released when a person responds immediately to a divine prompt. When you recognize urgency, when you act decisively, you engage the principles of heaven. Angels are dispatched in alignment with your obedience. The spiritual realm is stirred, and what seemed impossible begins to shift. That is why you cannot treat today casually. You cannot treat it as ordinary. Today is pregnant with purpose, and it will respond to your decision to act without delay. You must understand that in the realm of the spirit, hesitation is costly. Every moment you delay, every second you say, I will wait, you give the enemy a foothold. You give circumstances a chance to strengthen, to solidify, to resist your breakthrough. But when you seize the day, when you declare what needs to be declared, when you step into action immediately, you break the momentum of delay. You pierce the veil of limitation and open yourself to supernatural acceleration. There is a principle in life and in prayer that cannot be ignored. God honors immediacy. Heaven responds to urgency. The moment you rise to act, the moment you rise to pray, the moment you rise to decree, the moment you rise to believe, the heavens are moved, the angels are dispatched, and doors begin to swing open in ways you could never have imagined. Beloved, I want you to hear me clearly. Today is not ordinary. Today is sacred. Today carries with it a measure of opportunity that cannot be replicated. Today holds battles that must be fought, victories that must be claimed, and blessings that must be released. Every second you delay is a second you forfeit. Every moment you postpone is a moment you lose. The urgency of now is not just a motivational phrase, it is a spiritual truth. The forces of the unseen, the world are aligned with timing. There is a season for everything, and there is a divine timing for every breakthrough. Recognize that the timing is now. The urgency is real. The moment has come to take hold of what has been promised, to rise in faith, to step boldly into the place of victory, and to refuse to allow delay to rob you of what belongs to you. I want you to feel it deep in your spirit. The weight of today, let it stir you. Let it shake you out of complacency. Let it remind you that the power of action is the power of alignment. When you act with immediacy, you engage with destiny. You tap into divine acceleration. You stir heaven itself to move on your behalf. The prayer you are about to say, the declaration you are about to make, the words you are about to speak, with urgency, they are alive. They carry power. They carry authority. And they will not accomplish their point from work if you delay. The moment is now. The urgency is real. And the opportunity is here. Do not allow it to pass without action. Respond to the call. Move with precision. Declare with boldness. Step into the moment. And watch how what was once distant, what was once delayed, begins to manifest immediately in your life. Beloved, I want you to hear me today and understand this deeply. There is a power that surpasses every human limitation, every natural obstacle, and every plan of the enemy. This is the power of divine authority. When you grasp this truth, when it settles in your spirit, everything begins to shift. You are not just a passive participant in life. You are a vessel of God's authority. You have been given a mandate that transcends human reasoning, a decree that carries the weight of heaven itself. When you pray, when you speak in alignment with this authority, you are not merely asking for change, you are commanding it. There is a difference between pleading and commanding, between hoping and declaring. And it is the awareness of your divine authority that changes the atmosphere around you. Beloved, the angels are not aimless. They do not move without instruction. They are agents of divine authority, sent to fulfill the purposes of God, dispatched in response to the words of faith, spoken by those who understand their place in the kingdom. You must understand that the authority given to you is not symbolic. It is real. It is tangible, and it has power to disarm every opposition, every force, every scheme, every plan that has been designed to bring delay, confusion, or defeat into your life is subject to the authority that rests in you through prayer. This is why you cannot approach prayer casually. When you pray with awareness of your authority, you are stepping into alignment with the will of God and commanding forces in the spiritual realm to move in your favor. I want you to imagine the weight of what this means. The circumstances that seem impossible, the people who have been resisting you, the doors that have refused to open, all of these are subject to the authority given to you. The moment you recognize that you are seated in a place of power, the moment you understand that the words you speak carry weight in the spiritual realm, the dynamics of life begin to shift. There is a spiritual law that cannot be. Where authority is exercised in faith, opposition must yield. The enemy cannot resist what is declared by a child of God who understands the magnitude of the power at their disposal. Beloved, too many people operate in weakness because they fail to recognize their position. They pray as if they are asking a distant God for favors, as if the divine power is out of reach. But I am telling you, the power of God is not distant, it is within you. You have been entrusted with authority that can turn situations around, that can silence voices that rise against you, and that can bring us about breakthroughs that seem impossible. When you speak with divine authority, it is as if the heavens themselves respond. Angels move, doors open, and forces that were arrayed against you crumble in the presence of your declaration. You must understand the seriousness of this. Divine authority is not a toy. It is not something to be taken lightly. It is the very mandate of heaven working through you. And when you realize this, when you embrace it fully, you will begin to pray differently. You will speak differently. You will live differently. Your words will carry weight. Your declarations will carry power. There is a sacredness in the authority of God that cannot be resisted by any force in heaven or on earth. When exercised in faith, it produces results that go beyond human imagination. Beloved, the enemy understands this power. That is why he seeks to make you feel powerless, weak, or inadequate. That is why he tries to convince you that you are ordinary, that your words are meaningless, and that your prayers are ineffective. But do not be deceived. There is a divine authority that has been placed in you, and it has the capacity to reverse every plan to the enemy. Every setback, every betrayal, every disappointment is subject to the authority that rests in your prayers. The moment you step into this reality, you will begin to see the supernatural unfolding around you. Angels are dispatched, barriers are removed, and what was once delayed begins to manifest. I want you to feel this in your spirit right now. The power you carry is not limited by human understanding. It is the authority of heaven working through you. And when you speak in alignment with it, there is no opposition that can stand. Every obstacle that has been resisting you, every plan of the enemy that has been plotted against you, every chain that has bound you begins to crumble. The key is awareness and action. Awareness that the authority of God is within you, and action in declaring it through prayer. When you understand your divine authority, you will pray with boldness, knowing that the angels are not idle, but moving in response to the words you speak. Beloved, today is a day to step into that authority. Today is a day to recognize that you are not at the mercy of circumstances. Today is a day to understand that the power of heaven is available to you, ready to move at your command. Your prayers are not just words, they are declarations that engage the spiritual realm. They are not whispers into the void, they are commands into the forces of heaven and earth. Every time you pray with awareness of your authority, you align yourself with the power of God, and the universe responds. Every plan of the enemy is disrupted. Every opposition is broken. Every blessing that was delayed is released. The authority of God is real, it is active, and it is working on your behalf right now. Beloved, I want you to hear me carefully, because this is not a casual word. It is a word that carries life. It is a word that carries power. It is a word meant to stir your spirit into action. There is a reality in this world that many refuse to acknowledge, the reality of opposition. Every life that rises toward purpose, every life that is called to greatness, every life that is destined for breakthrough will face resistance. There will always be forces, seen and unseen, that will attempt to delay, distract, and defeat you. These forces come in many forms: discouragement, betrayal, setbacks, criticism, fear, doubt, and even attacks from people who were expected to support you. Yet I am here to tell you that opposition is not the end of your story. Opposition is never stronger than the God who fights for you. Opposition is never stronger than the authority placed in your hands. Opposition is never stronger than the prayer that comes from a determined, steadfast heart. Beloved, I want you to understand that opposition is part of life, but it is not meant to be permanent. It is not meant to have the final say. The moment you recognize the opposition before you, the moment you name it, the moment you refuse to be intimidated by it, is the moment you begin to step into victory. Every enemy that rises against you, every plan that has been set to derail you, every attack designed to weaken you, is subject to your faith and your declarations. There is a spiritual law that cannot be broken. The enemy has power only when you allow it. He has authority only when you yield to fear and doubt. But when you rise with determination, when you rise with boldness, when you rise with unwavering faith, you release the power of heaven to dismantle every opposition. I want you to imagine for a moment the battles you have faced, the The moments when it seemed like everything was against you, when the mountain looked insurmountable, when the doors refused to open and the voices around you seemed louder than your faith, those are the moments that define you. Those are the moments where your victory is birthed. Opposition is not a signal to retreat. It is a signal to advance with more intensity. Every struggle you face, every attack you endure is not a message of defeat. It is a message of preparation. It is a message that God is about to do something extraordinary through you. The resistance you feel is not stronger than the God within you. The challenges you encounter are not stronger than the angels assigned to your life. The enemies you face are not stronger than the authority given to you to command them to fail. Beloved, there is a principle that cannot be ignored. Those who succeed are not those who never face opposition, but those who refuse to be defeated by it. It is not the absence of difficulty that determines your breakthrough. It is your response to it. Every time opposition rises, you have a choice: to shrink, to complain, to fear, or to rise, to declare, to pray, and to command forces of heaven to act on your behalf. Every time you choose to rise, you send a message to the enemy that you are not intimidated. You send a message to heaven that you are ready. And you send a message to your own spirit that victory is inevitable. Opposition cannot stand when your faith moves into action. Resistance cannot survive the power of relentless prayer. Obstacles cannot endure the authority of a determined heart aligned with heaven. I want you to picture the spiritual reality of this. The moment you begin to pray with authority, with determination, with awareness of your calling, every plan that has been set against you begins to crumble. The enemy who thought he had you cornered is forced to retreat. The people, situations, and circumstances that seemed immovable are rearranged. The chains that bound you are broken, and the path that was once blocked begins to open. This is not wishful thinking. This is the reality of a life that refuses to be defeated. Every opposition you face is temporary, but your destiny is eternal. Every attack is limited, but your purpose is unlimited. Beloved, do not allow the voice of fear to tell you that you cannot have to overcome. Do not allow the setbacks of yesterday to dictate the victories of today. Every opposition is a stage for God to demonstrate his power through you. Every struggle is an opportunity to release the authority that has been placed in your hands. Every challenge is a signal that the heavens are about to move. You were never meant to be passive. You were never meant to sit quietly while your enemies celebrate. You were meant to rise, to declare, to command, and to overcome. And I want you to feel this deep in your spirit. The power to overcome is not in man. It is in God, who has entrusted you with authority. And it is released when you refuse to yield to opposition. Beloved, the battles you face are real, but so is your victory. The forces that rise against you are not stronger than the angels that fight for you. The opposition that surrounds you is not stronger than the God who is able to turn situations around in a moment. When you step into this understanding, when you declare boldly, when you pray with unwavering faith, the spiritual realm is stirred. Angels are dispatched, chains are broken, and what once seemed impossible begins to manifest. Opposition is not your master. Opposition is your signal. It is your call to rise, to activate the power within you, and to walk in the victory that has already been ordained for you. Every enemy is destined to fail. Every plan set against you is destined to collapse. Every situation that seemed impossible is destined to change. Beloved, I want you to hear me carefully, because what I'm about to say is not ordinary. It is a truth that has the power to shift your life. Faith is not just a feeling. Faith is not just hope or wishful thinking. Faith is a force, a spiritual energy that activates the power unseen, a power that moves mountains, a principle that releases the intervention of God in your life. And the moment you understand how to activate it, everything around you begins to align with the purposes of heaven. You see, many people go through life with prayers that never reach their potential because they are praying without faith, speaking without expectation, believing without activation. But beloved, faith is not passive. Faith is not a spectator sport. Faith is an active force that demands action, that demands declaration, that demands belief, and that demands expectancy. I want you to understand this. Faith is the mechanism by which the supernatural enters your natural world. It is the bridge between your present circumstance and your promised breakthrough. When you activate your faith, you are telling heaven, I am ready, I am expecting. I will not settle for all less than what you have promised. Faith is not just believing that God can. Faith is declaring that God will. It is speaking into the impossible with the authority you have been given. It is taking hold of what seems out of reach and positioning yourself to receive it. Faith activation is the key to unlocking doors that have remained closed, to seeing chains that have bound you break, to watching situations shift in ways that defy human reasoning. Beloved, I want you to visualize the power of faith in your life. Every time you take a step in obedience, every time you speak a word in alignment with God's truth, every time you choose to believe when all evidence points otherwise, you activate forces in the spiritual realm that begin to work on your behalf. Faith is not theoretical. Faith is tangible. It is alive. It is a spiritual force that brings about results that you cannot manufacture on your own. That is why it is said that faith can move mountains. Mountains in your finances, mountains in your relationships, mountains in your health, mountains in your destiny. All of them can be moved when faith is activated. But beloved, you must choose to activate it. You must choose to step into the realm of expectation. You must refuse to operate in doubt, hesitation, or disbelief. I want you to hear me clearly. Faith is contagious to the spiritual realm. The moment you decide to believe, the moment you take action based on what you know is true, angels are dispatched. The moment you refuse to shrink back, the moment you refuse to compromise your belief, the heavens respond. There is a spiritual law that cannot be broken. When faith is activated, results are inevitable. And this is why I'm speaking to you with intensity, because today is not a day to sit passively. Today is a day to rise in faith. Today is a day to speak, to declare, to believe, and to move as if the promises have already manifested. Your words, your actions, and your expectation carry the power to activate what has been waiting for you all along. Beloved, do not, misunderstand me. Faith is not a blind leap into nothingness. Faith is anchored in the word of God, in the promises that have been spoken over your life, in the knowledge that you